everyone, I'm Ankita Pokharel. In today's video, we're going to read a section on surprising customs. Let's begin the class now.
Surprising customs. One thing that sets humans apart from other members of the animal kingdom is our propensity to develop customs and traditions around everything from beauty rituals to death customs. In fact, humans love doing this so much that the world has been enriched with thousands of different cultures since the dawn of civilization. No doubt, one important aspect of just about any given culture is its code of etiquette and a sense of identity. Here are some astonishing customs from around the world. Pointing with lips. While gestures of the hand are often subject to customary variation across cultures, few can claim this wonder extends to expressions of the mouth. In Nicaragua, it is common to point with the lips instead of the thumb or index finger like the majority of the world. Wondering just how exactly a person points with their lip? It all starts by puckering up. The lip point is typically used in conversation to indicate something that is happening nearby. Next, tipping. Another odd custom associated with the United States is its tipping culture. Unlike many other countries that don't tip at all or who only tip in small amounts when the food was particularly good, tipping is rather mandatory at most restaurants in the US. In fact, it is expected that patrons leave between 10 to 20% of the bill in tips. Further, there are rules for tipping bartenders, delivery people, and other service personnel. While some criticize this practice as irrational, there is no doubt that tipping culture in the US gives an incentive for waiters and waitresses to provide better service. Slurping. Most societies around the world have rules about table etiquette. For Western cultures, noisily consuming food is considered rude. In Japan, however, making slurping sounds while eating has an entirely different meaning. This might have something to do with the fact that in Western countries, noodles are properly consumed by twirling them on a spoon before putting them in the mouth. Meanwhile, the Japanese simply slurp up their noodles without contorting them first, an act that is naturally noisier than the former. Making slurping sounds when eating noodles in Japan is a way of indicating that you're really enjoying them. Some scientists even argue slurping invites air into the palate and actually enhances the noodle's flavor. Kneeling or lying prostrate as greeting. For members of the Yoruba people, an ethnic group that largely resides in Nigeria, greeting rituals are taken quite seriously. This is especially true in regards to greeting elders. When an adult approaches, Yoruba youths are expected to drop to their knees in greeting. More specifically, women kneel when greeting and male typically lie prostrate. These gestures are a sign of respect and deference for the elders of the community. Interestingly, this custom is one that distinguishes Yoruba people from other ethnic groups in Nigeria, including the Bini and the Kalabari. Let's now discuss the key points. The text highlights the cultural diversity. As it explains, humans have many different customs and traditions, enriching the world with cultural diversity. The next thing we get to know is about the customs and identity. The text highlights about the fact that customs play a significant role in defining a culture's etiquette and sense of identity. We further move knowing about the people in Nicaragua, where lip pointing is practiced. Instead of pointing with a finger, people in Nicaragua often point with their lips, usually to indicate something nearby. We came across the tipping culture in USA. The US has a strong tipping culture where it's expected to tip service staff, especially in restaurants, a significant percentage of the bill. Likewise, the slurping tradition in Japan. Slurping noodles in Japan is not considered rude, rather it's a sign of enjoyment and this may even enhance the flavor. We got to know about the greeting rituals of Yoruba people as well. So, Yoruba youths in Nigeria show respect to elders by kneeling, where women do the kneeling, and lying prostrate, that means men do the prostrating when greeting each other. So if we have to critically analyze the text, we come across the surprising customs which have been mentioned in the text, as the title and some of the description make this custom seem strange. But are they really strange? Or are they just different? What's normal to one person might be surprising to another. So here, in this regard, it's important to remember that no one's culture is way of doing things is better than another's. They are just different. The text is not the whole story. As the text is very short, it doesn't tell us much about why people have these customs. For example, it mentions about the tipping culture in US but doesn't explain the history behind it or the arguments for and against it. So each custom probably has a long and interesting story, but we are only getting a tiny glimpse, which is also one of the drawbacks of this article. Next thing, we get to see the generalizations made. As the text talks about the US or Japan as if everyone in those countries does exactly the same thing, but that's probably not true. There are probably lots of different ways of doing things within each country. So, based on what the text is asking us to assume, we shouldn't assume everyone in a culture is exactly the same. If we have to look from the outside, the way the text is written makes it sound like it's looking at these customs from the outside, like someone who doesn't belong to these cultures. It might have been more interesting to hear about these customs from people who actually practice them. So, this could be one of the drawbacks of the text. But however, it was really fun knowing about different cultures and customs practiced in various places of the globe. Here are some questions displayed on the screen. Number A, why is it important to learn about different cultures? B, what are some customs you have that might seem surprising to someone from another country? So, based on your description and your analysis and your cultures that you have been practicing, write down the answers to these questions as your assignment. How did your class go today? If you have any suggestions or feedback, please feel free to reach out to us through learning@dearwalk.edu.np. See you in the next class with another lesson. Thank you.